Welcome to the Bible Answer Man broadcast with Christian Research Institute President Hank Hanegraaff. Our mission at CRI is not only to equip you with sound biblical teaching and spiritual discernment, but to help you become a winsome and fruitful witness of Jesus Christ. Because the credibility of our faith hinges on the answers we provide to life's biggest questions, there's often not a second chance to get those answers right. To learn more or to find resources to help you grow in grace, call 888-7000-CRI. That's 888-7000-274. Or go to our website at equip.org. That's equip.org. The following program was pre-recorded. And now, here's Hank Hanegraaff.
Thank you very much, Randy. A lot of you hanging on. We'll go right to the phone calls. First up is Brace. Brace is listening in Tyler, Texas. Hi, Brace.
Hi, Hank. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good talking to you. I had a question. I heard today a different perspective about how the weather plays a part with angels, to sum it up. And in Job 1, where I believe I read that, I don't know if God handed everything over to him, but Satan controlled the weather. And my question was, how does that all intertwine in the weather? Because I don't know if that's necessarily God or the angels, or if it's just something as in gravity that is set forth and just happens. Because when something as Katrina happens or something of that nature, people always say, why God, or blame God. I just want to know what your thoughts are about that.
Well, remember, we live in a cursed creation. And so there's an old order of things that we're experiencing. In the future, there's going to be a new order of things in which there's no more death, mourning, crying, or pain, for the old order of things has passed away. Behold, all things have become new. In the old order of creation, the cursed creation, we all get sick, and eventually we all die. The earth itself has been corrupted, and therefore there are natural catastrophes that happen. But let me assure you, there's nothing in the whole of Scripture to suggest that Satan can control the weather. He most certainly cannot control the weather. In fact, in Job, it is not Satan that is controlling the weather. It is God that is controlling the weather. Remember, if you read Job chapter 2, you have a clear indication that God himself says, you incited me against him to ruin him without any reason. And then Satan says in response to God, but stretch out your hand and strike his flesh, and he will certainly curse you to your face. And then later on, Satan goes out from the presence of the Lord and afflicts Job with painful sores from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. All of that is contextualized by Satan inciting God to ruin Job, even though Job is a man of integrity.
So in that case particularly, I know it's set for us as an example, but for example, if something was to happen, it's raining where I am, did God control that? Of course, I know he knew that, but is he setting forth the, as we call it, Mother Nature?
Well, God is in control of all things, of course, but what I'm saying is we live in a cursed creation, and therefore the catastrophes that take place are part of the curse, just as the fact that people contract cancer is part of the curse. And I don't think we have any warrant whatsoever if someone contracts cancer to say that was God placing a curse upon that person. We don't know the purposes of God. We don't know what's happening in the heavenlies. I mean, that's one of the things we learn from the book of Job as well. As you read the book of Job, the one thing we recognize immediately is that God actually chastises Job for one thing, and that is Job wants to know why. Job wants to know what's happening in the heavenlies, and God says, you can't understand what's happening in the heavenlies. Trust me. That's the whole point.
Right. One more thing. I saw that I haven't had a chance to read your book yet, but it's real quick. Will there be, I know there won't be the mad catastrophes or anything of that nature, but do you think there'll be rain and weather and everything of that nature in the new heaven and the new earth? Will that still be a part of that, or will that be taken away as well.
Well, it's not going to be a cursed creation. We don't know exactly what it will be, but it will be perfected. It will be as God intended to be before sin entered the world. So we are going to be resurrected, immortal, imperishable, incorruptible, and we can't even say precisely what that entails. I mean, if you think about a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, the caterpillar could never imagine what it would be like to have a proboscis or wings or eyes that have a sense of color acuity that exceeds even that of a human being, when prior to that, as a caterpillar, it could only distinguish between black and white, between light and dark. So it's amazing what happens in metamorphosis, and even more amazing to imagine what is going to happen when we are resurrected in the new heavens and the new earth. And again, we don't know exactly what the earth will look like any more than we know what we will look like or be like. We'll be the same physically, but we're certainly going to be different organizationally, and I'm sure that's the case with the new heavens and the earth as well.
So that's one of those many questions where you don't scream, as you say, when the Bible's silent, and you can't make a exact theological deduction from it.
Exactly. What we do know is nothing impure will ever enter it, nor will anyone who does what is shameful or deceitful, but only those whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life. And as I quoted earlier from Revelation chapter 21, in the new order of things, there'll be no more death, mourning, crying, or pain. So we know that the earth that is now cursed will be relieved from that curse. And Paul actually explains that in Romans chapter 8, where he says that the earth is now groaning in travail and it's awaiting its liberation from bondage to decay. So no more decay, no more catastrophes. All will be in order and governed by the very one who spoke and the universe leapt into existence to begin with.
Thank you, Hank. I sure appreciate you and your team. Thanks for taking my call.
Hey, thanks, Brace. Appreciate your call.